Chapter 10 of Drona Parva, Arjuna's Oath. Yudhishthira sat on the ground with his eyes raining tears. He said, "That child went to fight with the words, 'Do not fear. I will certainly break the Vyuha. If I get caught up inside it, I will not be able to come out of it. That is what is worrying me.' I assured him that we would all take care of him. What is the use of my living when I could not do what I promised to do? I sent him to his death. Please kill me, all of you, before Arjuna comes and asks me, 'Why did you kill my son?' My child defeated all of them, Kripa, Shalya, Duryodhana, Drona, Ashwatthama, and so many others. They were all not able to meet the dreadful fighting of my child Abhimanyu. This hero was killed in the most treacherous manner imaginable. What can I say to Arjuna when he comes back? What am I to say to Krishna? What to Subhadra? I love Arjuna and Subhadra. No one is more dear to me than Krishna, and I have done this to them. I sent that child to his death. In my desire to win the war, I killed my child. Nothing will make me forget this. I killed him. I killed Abhimanyu." Yudhishthira fainted away. Arjuna had finally defeated the Samasaptakas. The sun had set, and the chariot of Arjuna was turned towards the camp of the Pandavas. The omens did not speak well. Arjuna was perturbed by it. He was talking to Krishna about the several things which had happened that day on the battlefield, but his mind was upset by the evil omens. His throat became parched. He said, "Krishna, my mind misgives me. I am feeling as though I have fever in my limbs. I have never before felt fatigued by the battle, but today I feel listless. These evil omens make me afraid. I do not know what has happened. I hope nothing has happened to my brother." Krishna said, "I am sure nothing has happened to your brothers. Nothing can happen to them. Your fears are unwarranted. Cast off this worry and be happy at the thought that the Trigartas are all subdued. They will not challenge you anymore. No one can lure you away from the battlefield from now on." They reached the camp. Silence greeted Arjuna. It was a silence, the like of which he had never known before. He said, "Krishna, what is this? There seems to be nothing here. Every day music could be heard from the veenas that were played. We would always hear the trumpets and other war instruments announcing our victory. But today nothing seems to be alive. Look at all these soldiers, Krishna. No one seems to welcome me. They are all avoiding me. What have I done to deserve this? They dare not meet my eyes. No one is here to greet me with words of praise for my fighting. I am afraid. No one is here, none of my own people. My brothers are not waiting for my coming. I hope nothing has happened to Virata or Drupada. I do not see my Abhimanyu or the sons of Draupadi. My Abhimanyu usually welcomes me with his charming smile." They went to the tent of Yudhishthira. There they saw all of them sitting dejectedly. Arjuna could not understand it. He looked at Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira hung his head down and wiped his eyes with his hands. Bhima was just limp with grief. Arjuna had never seen him thus. Bhima got up to greet Arjuna and fell down on the floor, his face convulsed with grief. Nakula was staring at the ground. Sahadeva was looking out of the tent. He would not look at Arjuna. No one would look at Arjuna. This was terrible. Arjuna scanned the people there who were sitting in the gloom. There were no lamps lit. Arjuna looked and could not see Abhimanyu anywhere. He spoke to them all. "Your faces are all pale and pained. I dare not guess what has happened. I do not see my darling child Abhimanyu. He would have welcomed me as soon as I came. He is not here. Where is he?" No one answered him. Only the sobs of Yudhishthira broke the silence. Arjuna tried not to guess the truth. He said, "I was told that Drona had arranged his army in the terrible Padma Vyuha. Do not tell me that you sent my child into the death trap." No one spoke. Arjuna continued to talk. No one among you can enter that vyuha except my child. I had taught him how to enter that vyuha, but I had not taught him how to come out of it. Did you send him into that Padma vyuha? He paused for an answer. No one spoke. Again the sobs of Yudhishthira broke through. Arjuna knew. He turned horrified eyes on all of them. They were afraid to look at him. Yudhishthira came to him and said, Do not speak a word more, Arjuna. Kill me first. You can talk afterwards. First, kill me who killed your child. It is only thus you can avenge the death of Abhimanyu. I killed Abhimanyu. Yes, I killed Abhimanyu. Again he fainted away. Arjuna was too stunned to speak. He could not imagine his Abhimanyu as dead. Krishna could not stand up. He sat down on the floor near Bhima. His eyes were filled with tears. But looking at the anguish in the eyes of Bhima, he took his hand in his and squeezed it in silent sympathy. Bhima broke down. Arjuna had fainted. He got up and said, Tell me, someone, how it happened. How did he die? How could he die? He was not taught how to get out of the Padma Vyuha. He must have told you that. If you had been caught in it, he is sure to have been killed. If he had been caught in it, he is sure to have been killed. Which man, prodded by fate, did dare to kill my son? How could he have had the courage to touch my son? How can I live after this? He was so brave and chivalrous. He would never attack first in a fight. He was the flower of chivalry. How could anyone have had the heart to kill him? I am not able to believe it. Arjuna lamented the death of Abhimanyu for a long time. He then turned to Yudhishthira and said, How could you do it? How did you allow him inside the Padma Vyuha without helping him? You were there, and Drishtadyumna and Nakula and Satyaki and Sahadeva. How could this have happened? I cannot understand how anyone could kill Abhimanyu. He is so hard to defy. Tell me who that man is. He did not get an answer to his question. He said, I am sure there must have been some foul play, or else Abhimanyu cannot be killed. I am certain of that. He threw down his bow and arrows. He fell down in a faint. He was revived. Krishna took his hand in his and said, Arjuna, do not grieve so. Abhimanyu died the death of a hero. He died so that others may live. He has reached the heavens. It is a fitting death for a great hero like Abhimanyu. Look at your brothers, Arjuna. They are sunk in the depths of sorrow. It is up to you to comfort them. They are just broken with grief and self-reproach. Talk gently to your dear ones. Seeing you grieve, their grief is increasing. You cannot imagine how they must have suffered today. Abhimanyu is the beloved child of all of us. Remember that, my friend. Arjuna went at once to Bhima. He fell at the feet of Yudhishthira and Bhima, and their tears now mingled. Arjuna spoke to Yudhishthira. In my grief, I was blind to your feelings. Forgive me, my dear brother. Bhima, I am sorry I forgot myself. I can see what this must have meant to you all. I can compose myself. I am feeling that I am now strong enough to bear to hear the details of his death. Nakula, Sahadeva, Satyaki, tell me, all of you, how it happened. Drishtadyumna, my friend, tell me the name of that fool who has dared to do this to us. Yudhishthira, my lord, my mind is now strong enough. Arjuna broke down again. He said, my heart must be made of stone, or else it would have been broken all to pieces when I heard that Abhimanyu is dead. He is dead, and I am living. Yudhishthira made Arjuna sit down and said, Arjuna, I will tell you everything that led to the death of the jewel of the Pandavas, the dearest possession of yours. I will tell you. The Trigartas came and took you away. After that, Drona arranged his army in the Padma Vyuha. We had a counter arrangement and the fight began. It was not possible to resist their onslaught. The Vyuha was terrible. We could do nothing, absolutely nothing. It was like a fort which resisted all our skill. Our army was being defeated, and all the while Drona was standing outside the Vyuha with a complacent look on his face. I knew that our army would be completely destroyed before the evening. I could not bear to see our innocent army being killed ruthlessly like that. Arjuna, I went to Abhimanyu and asked him if he would break the Vyuha for us. He was pleased. He said, "Do not fear, my uncle. I will certainly break the Vyuha. My father has taught me that. If I can do this service to the great Pandavas, I will be proud of it. But but I know only half the truth about the Vyuha. I know how to enter it, but my father has not taught me how to get out of it. He has told me that Vyuha has a knack of closing up after someone has entered it. If I get caught up inside it, if danger assails me there, I will not be able to get out of it. That is what is worrying me." Here the voice of Yudhishthira broke. He could not continue. Bhima spoke. He said, "Yes, Arjuna, that child said he could not come out of the Vyuha, but we all assured him that we would take care of that. I assured him that we would all be with him, and that once the opening was made, then we would break it open. We were all there. Yudhishthira, myself, Nakula, Sahadeva, Drishtadyumna, Satyaki, Drupada, Virata, the Kekeya brothers, the son of Draupadi, and so many others. That child took on his young shoulders this great task which we all placed on him. The last we saw of him was when he stood on the chariot and turned back and looked on us with a beautiful smile of infinite charm lighting his face. That was the last we saw of him. Bhima could not speak any more. He sobbed into the chest of Arjuna. Again Yudhishthira took up the narration. He said, "We followed him in our chariots. We saw him enter the Vyuha. We were just behind him. We could have entered the Vyuha very easily. We saw the opening. Just as we were about to enter, Jayadratha came and stood before us. I thought that it would be easy to get past him. We saw Abhimanyu course through the enemy ranks like a meteor. We were sure of joining him. But then the petals of that huge lotus closed up once again. Jayadratha blocked up the passage and we could not enter. We saw the child caught up inside the Vyuha, and all of us tried in vain to defeat Jayadratha. Single-handed he managed to keep us all at bay. We heard the progress of Abhimanyu by the shouts of despair rising from the army of the Kauravas. He caused havoc, but in the end he died. Abhimanyu died." Yudhishthira stopped. He could not tell Arjuna about the murder of his son. Sahadeva now came near Arjuna. He said, "My dear brother, prepare yourself to hear the story of the greatest crime that was committed on the field of Kurukshetra. Your son was surrounded by 6 Maharatikas, Drona, Kripa, Radheya, Ashwatthama, Kritavarma, and the son of Dushasana. These 6 surrounded him. Radheya cut his bow from behind. Drona killed his horses. Kripa killed his charioteers. The son of Dushasana killed Abhimanyu. Yes, Arjuna, they all murdered that child, even under our very own eyes. We saw it and we could do nothing about it. You can punish us as you like. We all killed Abhimanyu." Sahadeva was overcome with grief. They all sat silent, looking at Arjuna and his mounting fury. Arjuna fell down in a dead faint. They came near him and revived him with perfumed water. Arjuna got up. His frame was trembling with fury. He trembled as if with an ague. He stood up and said, "I promise you I will kill that Jayadratha tomorrow. Even if he comes to me or to Krishna or to Yudhishthira for succor, I will kill him. Even if he is guarded by all the sons of Dhritarashtra, even if he is in the keeping of Shankara himself, I will kill him. I am to be his killer tomorrow. If I do not kill him, let me lose all the merit I have acquired so far. Let me go to the hell meant for the worst of sinners. Listen to my oath. I swear in the name of fire and in the name of my beloved Gandiva that I will kill that Jayadratha tomorrow. I will do it before the sun sets tomorrow. No one can prevent me from doing this. Jayadratha will be dead tomorrow. If I do not kill him, I promise that I will enter the blazing fire with the Gandiva in my hand. Arjuna twanged his bow. The noise filled the four quarters. Krishna at once took up his Panchajanya and blew it lustily. The terrible noise filled the air. The earth did tremble when the notes of the conch of Krishna mingled with the vibration of the string of the Gandiva. The Pandava camp was now happy. They thought that Jayadratha was to be killed by Arjuna, made them feel elated. The thought that Jayadratha was to be killed by Arjuna was made them feel elated. The Pandavas threw off their cloak of grief. Bhima was exhilarated. His voice became harsh with the emotion in his heart. He looked at Arjuna and said, "Even at this very moment, the enemies would have heard the noise of your bow and the music of Panchajanya. They would have died already. I am proud of you. I know that you will do what you have sworn to do." The gloom lifted from the hearts of the brothers of Arjuna. They felt that the death of Abhimanyu would be avenged. They knew that all six of the murderers would be punished by Arjuna for their inhuman crime. Nemesis was already on their track. It would be just a matter of days before they would all be killed. All of them tried to forget the death of Abhimanyu in the desire for revenge. But they could not forget the thoughts of Abhimanyu. They could not wipe from their memory the picture of Abhimanyu when they last saw him standing in his chariot and smiling at all of them just before he entered the terrible Padmavyuha. Everyone in the Pandava camp, from Yudhishthira to the lowest soldier, was mourning the death of Abhimanyu. No one slept in the camp that night. Along with the grief at the death of Abhimanyu, a new worry had entered their minds. It was the oath of Arjuna. Everyone thought, in his grief at the death of his son, Arjuna has sworn to do a thing which seems impossible. May God grant him success in tomorrow's fight. May he come back to the camp with victory. We will stake all the punya we have acquired so far. God, please make his oath come true. May Arjuna come back victorious from the battlefield. So prayed everyone in the camp of the Pandavas. Om Shanti 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 Shubharatri Shri Krishnar Pranamast. Chapter 11 of Drona Parva, Jayadratha's Panic. There was happiness in the camp of the Kauravas today. The Acharya had done what he had promised to do. He had killed one of the great heroes on the side of the Pandavas. They were all gloating over their success. They were thinking of the grief of Arjuna when he came back from his fight with the Samasaptakas. Duryodhana heard that their army has been defeated. The brave Shusharma, who had challenged Arjuna to please Duryodhana, had been vanquished by Arjuna. He had lost all his brothers and his army. But Duryodhana was not very upset by this. He was extremely pleased at the fact that Abhimanyu had been killed. They were all celebrating their victory. The Kaurava camp was startled out of its pleasant thoughts by the sound of Arjuna's Gandiva and Krishna's Panchajanya. They did not know what it meant. They had been sure that Arjuna would be plunged in awe. It looked as though they were mistaken. The twang of the Gandiva meant only one thing, that Arjuna was very pleased about something. The Panchajanya, which was blown so lustily by Krishna, meant that he was happy too. This was not what they expected of the Pandavas. They were waiting for a different kind of noise. They were hoping that the Pandavas would take thought and die. Duryodhana was waiting impatiently for their spies from the Pandava camp to bring them news about the latest development in their plan. The spies came. They told him about the oath of Arjuna. Jayadratha was terrified. He rushed to Duryodhana. He said, "I am sure Arjuna will do what he has sworn to do. There is nothing else for me to do except run away. I will go back to my kingdom. I will go back to my father. No one can kill a man who has run away from the battlefield. It is against the dharma of a good Kshatriya. Arjuna is righteous. He will not pursue me. I will save my life by running away. Duryodhana was not so upset as he ought to have been about the fears of Jayadratha. Jayadratha had served his purpose. Duryodhana, who always thought himself first and then of the others, laughed at the fears of Jayadratha. He said, "Do not be so frightened. Arjuna cannot kill you. You say that you will run away from the battlefield, that a righteous warrior will not kill a man who has run away. But remember, our killing of Abhimanyu was anything but righteous. Arjuna knows it. In fact, the spies have just told us what he said. Even if he is in the keeping of Shankara himself, I will kill him. There is no use in your running away. As for your fears, they are just foolish. You will be guarded by all of us. In the midst of so many of the Kaurava heroes, you will be safe. Indra himself cannot do anything to you. I will guard you. Radeya, Vivimsati, Shala, Shalya, Chitrasena, Burishravas, Vrishasena, Purumitra, Kripa, Boja, Vikarna, Durmukha, Dushasana, Vinda and Anubinda, our Ashwatthama, Shakuni and Alambus are some of the heroes who will guard you. You are yourself a great fighter. Why should you fear the power of Arjuna? He is not a god. Cast off all your fears. We will take care of you. I will see that not a hair of your head is touched. There is also this to be said. Arjuna has sworn that he will fall into the fire if he does not keep up his oath. Because of you, we will be rid of Arjuna. Without Arjuna, the Pandavas can do nothing. This is a heaven-sent opportunity. Let us not lose it. Duryodhana's words were comforting to Jayadratha, but they were not reassuring enough. He went with the king to the presence of Drona. Jayadratha asked him, I want you to tell me if I am the better fighter or Arjuna. I want your frank opinion. Drona said, You have both had the same teacher, I know, but he has improved his skill by the constant practice, and also he has in his possession all the divine astras. But that is all beside the point. I am here to protect you from Arjuna tomorrow. I will build a vyuha which all baffle even Arjuna, and I will keep you inside that. I will stand guard at the entrance of the vyuha as I did today, and no one can pass me and enter, not even Arjuna. I am sure of it. Why are you so afraid? I will try my best to protect you. If I fail, you must face death. After all, one has to die sooner or later. You will die on the battlefield, fighting. You will reach the heavens. There is no use in fretting about something which may not happen. Go and rest in peace. I am going to build a triple vyuha tomorrow. The first portion will be a Sakata vyuha. Beyond this Sakata vyuha, I will have a Padma vyuha. Inside this will be a Suchi Mukha vyuha. Suchi Mukha vyuha. At the other end of this third vyuha, you will be placed with all the heroes to guard you. I will be guarding the vyuha. It will not be possible to get past me. Even if Arjuna manages to get past the first two vyuhas, he will find it very difficult to reach you. By the time he reaches the third vyuha, it will be evening. His oath will become false. Do not worry so much about tomorrow. Drona's words made Jayadratha feel that there was not much danger for him. He was reassured. They all went back to their tents. There was absolutely no chance of Arjuna succeeding in his attempt tomorrow. That was the feeling in the minds of all of them. Krishna went to Arjuna's tent. He said, Arjuna, it is a very harsh thing that you have done today. You have taken an oath in the presence of your brothers and all the heroes that you will kill Jayadratha tomorrow before the sun sets. Why did you take the oath without consulting me? I would have given you proper advice. You have taken upon yourself a very great task. I only hope that you will not have to face the ridicule of the world. What made you think that the task will be easy? I have just now heard from our spies that every precaution is being taken by your dear Acharya to guard Jayadratha. As soon as they heard the twang of your bow, the Kauravas were worried about the reason for your happiness. Then their spies went and told them about your oath. They have asked Drona to protect Jayadratha. He has promised to do so. Drona is going to have a triple vyuha. The first portion of the army will be half a Sakata Vyuha and half Padma. Beyond that will be a Suchimukha Vyuha. All the great heroes like Radeya, Bhurishravas, Ashwatthama, Vrishani, Durjaya, Kripa, Shalya, Durmukha, and Drona will be there to guard the Vyuhas. The final Vyuha will baffle you. At the very end of it will be Jayadratha, and all along the needle will be placed the best fighters on their side. Arjuna, you will have a terrible task ahead of you. I am worried about the fighting you will have to do tomorrow. I wish you had not taken it. If you fail, I dread to think of the consequences. I do not want to lose you, Arjuna. Arjuna smiled and said, I know that all the heroes you have mentioned are all far inferior to me. I can also defeat Drona and his son. I am sure to kill Jayadratha tomorrow. Duryodhana thinks that his commander is great. He is depending on him to win this war. I will tackle the great Drona first. Krishna, watch me kill all the great warriors on the side of Duryodhana. I will show them what I can do. Watch my Gandiva tomorrow. It will glow as it has not done so far. Jayadratha has got to be killed by sunset tomorrow. My Abhimanyu will be watching me. I cannot fail. I will not fail. We must leave early in the morning tomorrow. Please keep all the weapons ready in my chariot tomorrow. Krishna, I have a bow called the Gandiva. It is the best in the world. I am Arjuna. I have been called the best archer in the world. I have a charioteer by name Krishna. He is the best man in this world. Why then should I worry? Do not insult yourself and your friend and this, my other friend, the Gandiva, by thinking that tomorrow I may not be able to keep my promise. You are with me. That means victory is mine. They both sat silent for a few moments. They were both thinking of Abhimanyu. Suddenly Arjuna said, Krishna, I cannot face Subhadra and her tears. I cannot face her now. Please go to her for my sake and comfort her. Krishna said, I know it will be hard for you. I will certainly go and see her now. Krishna went to see his beloved sister. It was awful to see the grief of the mother at the death of her son. He went and sat by her side. They sat thus for a long time. Krishna said, Subhadra, you must not grieve for your son so much. He has reached the heavens. He is part of the moon. He is happy. We must not grieve for one who is happy. He is alive as long as his name is alive. Can anyone forget Abhimanyu in this world? Weep not, my dear sister. He lived as no one has lived. As for his death, why? Many will vie with each other for a death like that of Abhimanyu. We are all mortals. We all have to die. But it is not possible to die a grand death as Abhimanyu did. People perform a number of good acts and a great number of sacrifices and yagnas to reach the realms of Indra. But young Abhimanyu has reached that realm because he is Kshatriya and because he died on the battlefield. You are the daughter of the house of the Vrishnis. You are the sister of heroes, the wife of the greatest hero in this world, the mother of the most wonderful hero that fought in the battle. It is not right that you should weep like this for Abhimanyu. Come, rise up and wipe your dear eyes. Subhadra heard these words of Krishna. She said, Krishna, you ask me not to weep, but how can I do anything else? When I think of his beautiful face and lotus eyes, when I think of his dear voice calling me mother, when I think that his body will now be on the battlefield covered by dust and blood, what can I do but weep? When the 5 Pandavas are alive, when the great Arjuna and Krishna were alive, how could this happen to my son? He was great, he was brave, he was gentle and sweet nurtured. How could this have happened to him? Krishna, how could you have allowed this to happen to my child? How is it the great Pandavas were not able to protect this child? I thought they were all heroes. I see that I was mistaken. Krishna said, in your grief you are saying this, my dear sister. Abhimanyu was killed by unfair means. He could never have been killed in fair fight. When I was away with Arjuna, these murderers trapped the child in their deadly vyuha and managed to kill him. How can you say that the Pandavas did not protect him? On the holy field called Kurukshetra, Adharma has been born today. Do you think those men will go unpunished for this vile crime of theirs? You will see it tomorrow. Arjuna has sworn that he will kill that sinful Jayadratha tomorrow before the sun sets. This is the last night he spends on this earth. He will be killed mercilessly tomorrow. Cast away this sorrow. Think of your son as one of the gods today. He died as a Kshatriya should. Think of the many mothers who have lost their sons during these 13 days of war. Have they not been brave? You are to stop this weeping and comfort poor Uttara, who is heartbroken. She is bearing Abhimanyu's son. You must guard her. You must now be her mother and wipe her tears. Abhimanyu died the death of a hero. He was killed ruthlessly by 6 great heroes on the side of the Kauravas. His death will be avenged by Arjuna. You can be sure of that. Come now, console your child Uttara. Krishna made her go to Uttara, and after comforting them both and Draupadi, he came back to Arjuna. Arjuna was waiting for him. He had all the things ready to worship Krishna. This was to him a daily ritual. He offered flowers and fruits and honey to Krishna after worshipping him. Krishna said, "Go to sleep, Arjuna. I will strive for your success in the war that is to be fought tomorrow." Krishna took leave of Arjuna, and ascending his chariot, which was driven by Dharuka, he went to his apartments. Om Shri Partha Sarathyai Namah. Shri Krishnar Pranamastu. Chapter 12 of Drona Parva, Krishna's preparations. Krishna lay down on his snowy bed and was immersed in thought. Sleep would not come to his eyes. It was long past midnight. Still Krishna could not sleep. He sat up in his bed. He sent for Daruka. Krishna said, "Daruka, you have also heard the oath of Arjuna, that he is going to kill Jayadratha tomorrow before sunset. Duryodhana has also heard about it, and he has made arrangements to guard Jayadratha. Arjuna is a great hero. He has fought with the enemies of Indra and destroyed them single-handed. I know that. But I am feeling that this task he has undertaken will be too much for him. The array tomorrow will be formidable. Drona is at the head of the team of warriors who are to guard Jayadratha. The time of the year is such that the sun sets early. It is now Dakshinayana. Arjuna will not have time to reach the Suchimukha Vyuha before sunset. I am afraid of that. Daruka, you know the affection I have for Arjuna. I do not love my sons or my wives or my relations or my other friends as I love Arjuna. If Arjuna fails to do what he has sworn to do, he will fall into the blazing fire and kill himself. I cannot live even for a moment in a world where Arjuna is not living. I feel that I will have to fight in tomorrow's battle. I have sworn not to, but I am prepared to break my oath in order to make the oath of Arjuna true. But I am prepared to break my oath in order to make the oath of Arjuna true. I will kill Radeya and Duryodhana if need be and save Arjuna's reputation. Let the world see my prowess tomorrow. I will fight for the sake of my heart's dearest friend. I will use my chakra called Sudarshana and my mace Kaumodika. The world will then see my love for the Pandavas. Their enemies are my enemies and their friends are my friends. Half my body and soul is Arjuna. Arjuna is part of Krishna and Krishna is part of Arjuna. No one can come between us. Now, Dharuka, tonight you must do something for me. Prepare my own chariot for the war. Place all my weapons in it. Place my bow Saranga, my chakra Sudarshana, and my mace Kaumodaki in it. Also my Shakti. Fix on the chariot my banner, the Garuda. Yoke my dear horses Valhaka, Shaibhya, Meghapushpa, and Shugriva. Place the armors on the horses. You must also wear your armor. Wait for me. If at any time of the day you hear me blowing my Panchajanya in the Rishabha note, come to me at once. I will then prove to the world how much I love Arjuna. I must guard him as I would my brother. We have shared all our joys and all our sorrows. I will try my best to make Arjuna keep his oath. If it looks as though he cannot, I will interfere and do the needful. Jayadratha must die tomorrow before the sun sets. Daruka listened in silence. He looked up when Krishna finished talking. He said, My lord, Arjuna cannot lose. He is sure to be successful. You are his charioteer. How can he lose? However, I will do as you have commanded me to do. I will keep the chariot in readiness. Daruka left the presence of Krishna. Krishna sighed a sigh of relief. He looked as though a burden had been lifted off his mind. He lay down on the bed. Arjuna lay on his bed. For a long time, thoughts of tomorrow and the task ahead of him robbed him of his sleep. He thought again and again of the words of Krishna, that he should not have taken the oath so rashly. His mind began to wander. He was hoping that he could kill Jayadratha. With these thoughts in his mind, Arjuna drifted into a troubled sleep. His sleep was haunted by a dream. Krishna melted into his dream. He said, Arjuna, do not worry. Why are you worried? Tell me that. Worry is a sure destroyer of success. This your worry will benefit the enemies and weaken you. Do not let the disease destroy you. Arjuna said, Krishna, I have taken a terrible oath that I will slay Jayadratha tomorrow. I must do it before sunset. The Kauravas have made all arrangements for his protection. If I am not able to do what I have sworn to do, the world will laugh at me. I will die if I am not able to kill Jayadratha. I do not want to be false to my oath. That is what I am worried about. Will I be able to do it? Krishna said, Arjuna, do you not remember your Pashupata? You performed tapas for it on the mountain called Indrakila. You got it from the Lord Shankara. You must use it against Jayadratha in the battle tomorrow. For the success of your oath, pray in your mind to Shankara. He will justify his name. You will be able to kill Jayadratha. Hearing the words of Krishna, Arjuna purified himself by touching pure water with his hands. He sat on the ground and thought of Shankara. He went to Shankara in his mind. A strange thing happened. Arjuna saw himself flying in the sky with Krishna. They were traveling faster than the mind. Their course was as straight and swift as that of an arrow which had been shot from a bow. Krishna had caught hold of his right hand and they were swimming together in space. They were proceeding towards the north. They passed many beautiful places. He saw the great mountain called Mandara. They seemed to be going higher and still higher, and finally they came to the mountain of silvery snow. There they saw the great Lord Shankara. Like 1,000 suns shining at the same time, he was glowing, brightening the entire mountain with this radiance. They fell at his feet and adored him. Shankara was pleased with their worship and said, What is your desire? I will grant it. Arjuna said, I want the reputed Pashupata. Even as he was saying this, Arjuna looked in the presence of the Lord. He saw there the offerings he had made to Krishna that night. Shankara said, There is a lake of nectar. There I have placed my own arrow and my bow with which I destroyed the Asuras. You can go and get it from there. Some of the many attendants of Shankara went with them to the lake of nectar. There in the lake they saw a serpent which was deadly. On a closer look, they saw another which was spitting fire. It had 1,000 heads. Then Arjuna and Krishna chanted the hymns from the Maharudra. The serpents changed their forms. They now became a bow and arrow. Arjuna and Krishna took them up in their hands with great reverence and went to Shankara. Shankara smiled at them. Suddenly from his body there appeared a brahmachari who had red eyes and blue black hair. He was fierce looking. He took up the bow and the arrow. Arjuna watched the way he did it. He learned from him the art of drawing the bow and fixing the arrow to it. Arjuna heard Shankara reciting the holy incantation for the Pashupada. The Brahmachari now flung the bow and arrow into the lake from there. Arjuna now remembered the duel he had fought with Shankara on the Indrakila mountain. He had been granted a sight of the Lord with his consort Parvati. He realized they were in the presence of that same Shankara. They fell at his sacred feet once again and he smiled on them. With a great elation in their hearts, Krishna and Arjuna returned to their camp. This was the strange dream of Arjuna. Shri Harihara Swami Namaha. Om Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.